One of our most basic needs is clean drinking water. As the head of the household, I feel it's my responsibility to provide this for myself and my family. The good news is technology has allowed us to up our game in this level at an affordable price and much more user-friendly designs. A perfect example of that is a reverse osmosis system. This one is by Glacier Fresh. It's an all-in-one unit that fits underneath your sink, does not need any electricity, should be fairly easy to install, and it starts you off with the cleanest drinking water that you can get. And then you can add back flavors or whatever you want. But what I like is starting with that base of known clean drinking water. I've put this off for a lot of time. I've looked at these systems. They get big and bulky and a little expensive. This one here, I think, is going to simplify the process quite a bit by having everything in one. And it's relatively small size. Let's get this out of the box, get it installed, and then we're going to test some other systems on the effectiveness to dissolve solids, see how effective this is at removing all of that contamination.
Here's what comes in the box: the main unit with a nice magnetic cover over the filter assemblies. Number 1 is a carbon filter, 2 is the RO membrane, 3 is another carbon filter. I've got a point of use water heater under here already, and it's a dual basin sink. So I've got 2 drain lines. One of them has a garbage disposal on it, so you can see space is pretty tight, but the assembly still fits in there fairly easily. My sink and faucet assembly is going on 11 years old now, and this nice stainless unit that came with the Glacier Fresh RO system, I think would be a nice upgrade. So I took this opportunity to replace my whole sink assembly. So I'm getting a new sink, but it also gives us the opportunity to video this much easier with that sink removed. So the first thing we want to do to install is install the drain line. Now most of us are going to have an open standpipe like this for a drain of the dishwasher. So I'm taking advantage of that and routing the red drain line for the unit right on top of the U for the dishwasher drains. Just going to zip tie that in place so it doesn't come loose and spray drain water all over underside of the cabinet. The kit also does come with a saddle that you can mount directly on a vertical portion of PVC pipe, drill a small hole in it, and it will seal the red drain line into that. But like I said, most of us should have this set up for our dishwashers. Take advantage of that and just route the red line into that existing drain. The next step is to install the supply line for the RO unit, and you want to attach this to the cold water line inside your cabinet that would supply your faucet. It comes with this T that includes a valve for the supply, so you can isolate the RO unit supply from the faucet. Once you have that tightened on the white line, you can straighten the tubing out a little bit, and I'm connecting this directly onto the existing valve for my cold water supply. This, in my case, was the correct size. If you have a larger size, there's a few adapters in the kit to accommodate that, but I think most of us in the US, this will be exactly the right size that you need, and just tighten it in place, you're good to go. Now it's time to install the faucet. Again, I have the Elite unit, so it comes with this very nice all-in-one faucet. I'm putting in a new sink, so it's much easier to install this before putting into the countertop, so I'm doing it on the floor here before I set it in place. Installation is pretty straightforward. Set it into place. There's a threaded collar that then you install into the faucet from the backside or underside. Tighten up a nut and then finish torquing these screws to pull the faucet down tight onto the sink assembly. Now you can install the supply lines to the faucet itself. The red one is for hot water. Obviously, I chose to put this on the front port for the main faucet, so when you pull the lever forward, you get hot water. And then on the back one will obviously be cold water, so when you push the selection backwards, you'll get cold water. The one on the right without a color marking is the RO water supply. That will be on the right-hand side from this view for the smaller dedicated filtered water faucet. Now we can go back to the under the counter view as if the sink is installed. Our hot water line from the faucet can connect to our hot water supply. This is generally going to happen right at your hot water valve. In my case, this is coming off of my point of use hot water heater. Now we can take the blue tubing from our kit and connect that to the line for the dedicated filter water faucet. If you have the basic unit and you have a dedicated faucet for the RO water, this will be the only line you need to connect if you're not replacing your full faucet. So in this case, you should remove the blue clip, push the blue tubing into that white connector until it's fully seated. You'll feel a pop, and then pull back out so the collar comes out with it, and pop in the blue clip as shown here. For a new sink, we went with a single basin, so there's a center drain instead of having the two drains. This puts the garbage disposal in the middle and frees up quite a bit of room under here so I can slide the unit on the left side of the garbage disposal. You don't have to do this, but it seems like single basins are what's in right now, and I like the look of it. Now it's time to connect our plastic tubing to the RO unit itself. Once you have the RO unit in place, you can trim that tubing and simply take out the rubber plug, insert it into the push connector, make sure it's seated properly, pull it back a little bit to pull the collar out, and install that blue clip just like we did before. Next up is the drain line. Follow the same procedure. This goes very easily. Repeat with the white supply line, and once you've got this in, installation is complete. Now you can turn back on the three valves. Here's the hot water supply to the main faucet, the cold water supply to the main faucet, and don't forget the valve on the T providing the supply to the RO unit itself. After that, check for leaks. Thankfully I didn't have any, but you might need to tighten up a couple fittings just to make sure you don't have any drips of water under your sink. Now we can turn on the filtered water faucet and let this run for about a half an hour to clear things out. Installation was pretty straightforward of the RO unit. Of course, I made it a little bit harder on myself and went ahead and replaced the entire sink to accommodate the faucet, but I think it is a big upgrade for us. Now let's use the included total dissolve meter to compare 3 different types of water: straight up tap water from our local utility, water from the refrigerator, which has its own little carbon filter, and then the RO water. Here's our tap water. (117 parts per million). Now the refrigerator has this carbon filter behind here, small tubular, so it's better than nothing, and it fills up this pitcher. Let's see what this water is. Here's our water from the refrigerator. That filter's a few weeks old. We're getting 149 parts per million, which is higher than what we had for the tap water. 145, 149. So that's very odd. Let's test the tap water again. It's as if that filter is actually adding something to the water. Tap water, we're getting 144 this time. So let's say tap water and refrigerator filter basically the same. It's not doing much of anything. $26. Now that's a big difference. RO unit, link in the video description below. You can go purchase your own. Highly recommend it. Nice all-in-one unit. Doesn't need any electricity. Straightforward install. Comes with a very nice faucet even too, which I took advantage of. The water tastes good. And to my surprise, the little filter in the refrigerator basically does nothing to limit total dissolved solids in your drinking water. So if you want to make a difference, RO unit is the way to go. Thanks for watching. Adios.